Hey guys, welcome to the Third Wind channel. Today we're going to be doing an exciting video about Hearthstone's new core set. We're going to be going through every single card, giving your thoughts on how much play it'll get, and I'll additionally be giving my thoughts on whether I think that it's a good inclusion in the core set, and kind of player sentiment. So, without further ado, let's get into it. And remember, these are just my opinions, and I'm going to be wrong about a lot of this. So if I'm ever wrong, tell me in the comments why. First up, we got Innervate, a classic card that got nerfed to giving only 1 mana, and it fits Druid very well, and it should be in the core set, I think, at least, of course it switches every year, but it's a good starting point. And do I think it's going to be in every deck? I don't think so. I think it could be. It's like putting a coin into your deck. Would you put a coin into your deck? And most droids still do. I think it's just gonna get plenty of play. I don't think it's gonna be in most decks. But yeah, moving on. This is gonna be a bit of a long video, so I'm gonna try to be fast. We got the new Yesera the Dreamer. Add one of each dream card to your hand. And I'm just going to quickly pull up what the stat line is. It's 412, just like the original Yesera. As a battle cry, you get every single one of the cards. I think the cards are actually a little bit rebalanced as well, so I can't see that. But just based on this, do I think it's a good card for the core set? Yeah. Yesera should be kept. I didn't really... I guess the old Yesera was a little too weak, and that probably means that this one's stronger. Getting all of them immediately. That's a huge. That's 5 cards immediately in your hand. It should be noted you can play Dream. What's it called? The one that returns a minion to their hand. You can play that one right away. I think it's gonna be a great card actually. It's not gonna be in most decks because most decks don't run 9 mana expensive dragons, but it's gonna be in plenty of decks. And I think it's a really great control card actually. Next, we got Crimson Clergy, another new card. Gonna look up again its stat line, so give me a moment. It's a 1 mana, 1/3. After a friendly character is healed, gain 1 attack. Now, historically, 1 mana, 1/3s have been quite strong, and just like there aren't that many 1 mana minions that you play and they can stick, and this is definitely one. I can see this card being in most priest decks. I'd almost say every priest deck. What kind of priest decks? We've heard there's gonna be shadow priest decks. We've heard there'll always be a control priest. Priests heal a lot, and a 1 mana 1/3 with upside. I think that this is gonna be in like every deck. Do I think it's a good inclusion? Yeah, sure. I think Northshire Killer got removed, so we needed a replacement. Next, we got Fiery War Axe, and I'm assuming it has the same stats. It might not have the same stats, huh? I think it might be a 3/3 now. And in the case it's a 3/3, I think it's going to get plenty of play. Do I think it's a great inclusion to the core set? Yeah, I think this card is, again, historical. It got nerfed from 2 to 3, which kind of removed it from every warrior deck. But I'm sure they've thought this core set through, and there'll probably be a bit of a void in that 3 mana slot for weapons, I'm guessing. And yeah, I think you'll see. It's more of a sometimes is played card actually. I'm not sure what direction warrior could really go in, but sometimes is played. Next, we got Arcane Intellect, which draws you 2 cards for 3 mana. One of the first cards you play in the tutorial, really. It's a classic. Thank you for including it in the core set. I think it's really remained really competitively viable through Hearthstone's history. So I think it should continue to do so, as I think the power level could go down a little bit with this new core set. And Mage likes to draw cards. I think it'll see play in it'll see plenty of play. It won't be in most decks, but you'll see it once a day if you play a lot of Hearthstone, I think. Next we got Freezing Trap, which is unchanged. I think this is like if there was any secret that I would like to be kept in Hunter, it'd be Freezing Trap. It's just good old reliable, very good. This is gonna be in most decks. It's just a staple in, and it's so powerful. Really, think about what it does. It almost denies the card from being played for most of the game, especially if it's an aggro matchup. So happy that it's included. Next we got Brawl, super classic card for Warrior. This is gonna be in most decks, assuming that Warrior goes in a more control direction. Love this being included. Not much to say there. Brawl remains good. Next we got Taylon Fordring, who once again we're gonna look up his stat line just so I can give an accurate, because this is one of the new cards. So just like you guys, I am still learning these cards, haven't gotten to play them. So he's a 5-mana 3/3 Taunt, Divine Shield, Death Rattle, draw your highest cost minion. Now I'm gonna put this card in. I think it's a great control card. It's great for stopping aggro as well, huh? But it won't really, like, the card you draw won't be always be so relevant. It always opens some kind of new combo deck, or you know, or it could even roll off aggro deck, like drawing like back in the day you draw Archmage Antonitis if you needed him for mage. I don't know. I think this card's actually going to be quite strong. Plenty of play towards the higher end of the B tier. Really fun card, actually, and opens a lot of different deck building opportunities. Next we got Wind Fury, which I always, you know, as a Hearthstone, like, you know, I've played since before Naxxramas, you know. Back like this summer before Naxxramas I started playing a long time ago. And the Wind Fury is always a card I try to make work. I think it's quite strong, and it was quite strong up until they added minions that would give Wind Fury. But seeing as they added this back, I've always had a, you know, I've always loved this card. I don't know why. It just feels so good when you stick a big minion and you can put Wind Fury on it. You know, I'll stick it into sometimes as played. Why not? I like that they included it. Feral Rage, I think we'll see play in most druid decks. Just that it's a really powerful choice to choose between gaining 8 armor or gaining 4 attack, and I'm sure we'll see some kind of you get both choose one effects combined, and this is just a fantastic card in that regard. You know, druid likes giving itself armor, and it also likes giving itself attack. That kind of 3 mana, you could probably discount this with some cards. That balance is perfect. I think it's going to be play in most druid decks. Equality for 3 mana. Wasn't it 4 before? I guess it's been changed a little bit. Quality for 1, you could play Consecration Equality. Is Pyromancer still in? See, oh man, I'm gonna have to get used to this core set. I think I'm happy they included it. How many decks will use it? You'll see plenty of play. Quality Consecration. I'm assuming Consecration's still here. We'll see, but it should still be good. Honestly, it synergizes with the Paladin hero power. It makes sense with the class. Now, Baron Rivendare is a card which you know, Naxxramas is one of my favorites of all time, maybe my favorite. And some of these legendaries from that era are great, like Kel'Thuzad, and I think he's also back. Baron Rivendare triggering death rattles twice, and that's really strong. I still think it's really strong, and I can't wait for this guy to be back in Standard. It should be so much fun. I think he's going to see plenty of play. I could be really wrong here. 4 mana 1/7 is a bit on the weaker side, but that 7 health is important for him to survive, and I think there are going to be a lot of strong death rattles, and you're going to play Baron Rivendare the turn you kill the death rattle by trading, and I think it's going to be strong. Ancient of War, does he still have the same stat line? We're going to assume that he has either a +1/1 buff or the same stat line, and in that case I think he's going to be played very rarely. Yeah, we'll put him in sometimes as play. I don't know what the stat line is. But, you know, classic card. Happy they included it. I remember when this card was actually good. Now, there were good times, you know. I'm going to play a lot of classic, the new game mode. But yeah, that's what I got there. I think it's gonna be sometimes is played. It really should be never played. I don't think it's gonna see that much play, but you know, I'll err on the side of caution for this D tier category. Deadly Poison, as far as I know, Rogue is gonna keep their weapon theme, and a Deadly Poison should be in most every deck just because of spell synergies. It enables your hero power. It's really most of the. This card really is the first card that comes to mind almost when I think of Rogue as well, so I'm happy they have it in the core set. Next we got Assassinate. I think there's stronger ways to remove minions. I think that this is going to go in sometimes it's played as like a one of index. I don't think it's that strong. Yeah, sometimes it's played. Dread Infernal. Was this a classic card? Where did this one come from? Aguro? Is that an Aguro? Can't remember. This card was quite strong as a one of, but you really wanted to generate this card. That's when you were happy. I don't know if you want to play it in your deck. Kind of depends on the meta, right? I think it's another sometimes is played card. It's all right. I like it. I like its inclusion. I like some strong demons. Force of Nature. The nerfed version is not. I don't see it being strong enough. Summoning 3, 2/2 Treant, so 5 mana 6/6 with upside because you can play tokens and whatnot. It's gonna go in sometimes it's played. It's not quite never played. I just don't see it being stronger than. It's not broken in any way, you know. So sometimes it's played. It should probably be in D tier though. Next we got Headhunter's Hatchet, which is a hunter weapon. Yeah, it's a hunter weapon. If you control beasts, gain +1 durability. I'm assuming it's a 2/2 weapon. I think it was a 2/2 weapon. I think that this is gonna see sometimes it's played. Just kind of along the lines of Fire War Axe. They include this card. I assume they're going to go back to the roots of Hunter and have some beasts. It's kind of hard to stick a beast turn 1 though. I don't love the chances of that happening. Yeah, we'll leave it there. Not much to say there. They could have left this one out, to be honest. Explosive Sheep. Deal 2 damage to all minions, so I guess this is kind of... I know Doomsayer's gone, so we get Explosive Sheep instead, and I think it's buffed? Didn't it used to do 1 damage to all minions? Not sure, but we'll put this one... I think this could see plenty of play, actually. It's quite strong. As a control deck, you can get rid of... It's like playing Explosive Tramp with upside, almost. Because you get a body on the field. Yeah, should see plenty of play. Happy they included some goblins versus gnomes. Yeah, it's great. Chaos Nova, deal 4 damage to all minions. Strong card. Sometimes it's played. Just does, you know, control Demon Hunter. We haven't really seen that ever be a thing. So sometimes it's played. Happy they included it, sure. But, you know, Demon Hunter is going to be... I'm going to go through those a little bit quicker because it's just, you know... They're quite new. This is a bit of a sentimental video for me. 1 mana, silence the minion, then give it 3 health. New card. We've seen cards like this before. And I guess you could compare it to, what is it called? Power Word. Can't remember what it's called, but it's a 0 mana, give a minion +2 health. And this is just not much better. I think this will never get played. I don't think it's that good. Unless there's like a perfect deck for it. So, you know what? That might be a bit harsh. There's some probably weaker cards in here. Sometimes it's played. We might drag some down to D tier eventually here once I get a feel for the set. Manatide Totem, classic. Should see plenty of play. Totem Shaman should still be good. Happy they included it. We need some strong totems. Murloc Tidecaller. Most likely got a buff. I can't remember though, but yeah, we need some, you know, a strong 1-drop to get a Murloc game started. It's important for those kind of more aggro style decks. We're gonna put it in sometimes it's played just in those Murloc decks. Very niche. Karen Bloodhoof. He's now a 5/5 instead of a 4/5. Does that make him good enough? We've seen big stat minions really not make it. 6 mana, 5/5. Potentially more if you make use of the Death Rattle, but a 1 mana increase on the attack. Sometimes it's played. I don't see this being a super big control card, but I am happy they kept this card. It's just, I guess I'm just sentimental, but I do like it, but not that great, honestly. Next we got Stone Skin Basilisk. This looks like an Anguro dinosaur. Divine Shield Poisonous, 3 mana. Don't know the stat line, but I think I remember this card. It might be like a 3/1. Might be a little less than that. I don't see this being super strong. You know, I'm gonna take a little bit of a ballsy guess and say that Stone Skin Basilisk doesn't see any play. That's my guess. Next we got Southsea Captain. Pirates. Yeah, sure. They'll make a comeback a little bit. Sometimes it's played. Next, and yeah, you know, this one, I don't know why they brought it back. This one, you know, I'm alright with it. Could have been probably a cooler card. You could have pushed this +1/+2. You could have made it, I think, and you wouldn't break the meta. So a new rogue legendary. Add a copy of the last card your opponent played to your hand. So a bit of like timing games. It seems like a really, you know, cost-efficient card as well. I think this is one that rogue could abuse. I think this is going to be played in most decks. You know, I think it'll be tried out a lot, and then it'll be added more. At first it'll be in every deck, but then eventually, sometimes it'll be cut for some more useful things. Next we got Earthen Ring Farseer, which like has seen some play throughout history. Kind of, I remember Shudderwalk and Shudderwalk. Sometimes it's played. Maybe there won't be enough. From what I've seen, there's enough healing in Hearthstone right now. But if we're lacking healing cards, this is a solid card. Novice Zapper, 1 mana. My best guess would be 1/3. And in that case, if spell damage matters, it'll see play. But overload 1, you know. Do you really want to overload on turn 1? You're gonna be playing a lot of 1 drops then, huh? I think it's gonna go in sometimes it's played. It doesn't look like it's no Tunnel Trog, you know. Sinister Strike, deal 3 damage to the enemy hero. From what I've seen, they are cutting down on combo decks, and this is, and I've never really made this card work very well in aggro, so I think that this card, we'll throw it in sometimes is played. Nizdermo the Eternal, right? So this is, I think I've seen that this is a 8/8. So if this is in both players' decks, turns are only 15 seconds long. Now this is one of the most exciting cards in this new set. Not that it's very strong, but I saw on Reddit someone said a card that enables a new game mode. Now that is special. You can have tournaments with this and all that. So I'm very, very happy they included it in the set. However, this card will, you know, only because for the memes, people are going to put this in the deck. It's going to be sometimes played, but it should be in never played. Quick Shot from Blackrock Mountain. Happy this is back. This one, I play quite a bit of Hunter, and I love this card, and it was sad when it rotated out. So I think it's going to be in most decks. Not in every deck, because not every Hunter deck wants to run out of cards, but in most decks. Next we got True Silver Champion. This should be in most decks. I don't know why, like, I don't know what reason it has to stop being in decks, you know. Should be in most Paladin decks. It's still in Paladin decks, so it's good enough. It's a 4 mana 4/2 weapon, which is good enough almost on its own, and the fact that it restores health is great. Fel Soul Jailer, a new card. Your opponent discards a minion. Death Rattle, return it. 5 mana, 5/6, right? So is that good enough? Would I play this? What deck would this go into? What are you playing this in, Zoo? Seems a little expensive for Zoo. I don't think this sees play. Oh, actually, hold up. Is there some kind of upside? No, you don't really want to duplicate this Death Rattle. Nah, I mean, I'm gonna put this in never play. This isn't really. I don't. Unless there's some crazy thing I'm missing, it doesn't feel like a justified card in this set. I'm just gonna put it in never play, to be honest. Plague Scientist combo. Give a friendly minion poisonous. Should be strong, but our lackeys are rotating out. This would be really strong with lackeys. But if I'm guessing we're moving away from that kind of generated 1 mana minion meta. So I think this is sometimes played. I don't think it's very strong, to be honest. Their cards are way more efficient. Baron Geddon, which is a 7/7 now. At the end of your turn, deal 2 damage to all other characters. I think one of the really reserving factors for current Baron Geddon is that he has 5 health. He's just too easy to kill. It's 7/7. I would play this card. I think he gets plenty of play in control decks. I've always tried to make this card work. I think it could finally see play. Happy they included it. Giving you minion 2/6. That's just so many stats for 4, and for a minion that's already on the board, you're just like guaranteeing at this stake. I haven't seen any use silences. I think this is gonna be strong. I'm ready to say in most decks. Backstab, you know, up there with Deadly Poison. This thing's been in every rogue deck ever, you know. So maybe not odd rogue, okay, fine, but it's gonna be in every deck. You know, I guess it's Rogue's identity. It should be in the core set as well. Deal 1 damage. So Shooting Star, 1 mana. Deal 1 damage to a minion and the minions next to it. This was in a expansion at some point here. I think that's a strong card. Should just get plenty of play. Not going to be in most decks, but it's a great tool. Mage typically struggles to have 1 mana cards to play on turn 1. So if someone summons 2 minions that are both 1 health, you know, that fits great. And usually Mage doesn't have kind of they might do a flame strike and they have 3 minions left with 1 health. So this kind of rounder is good for Mage. I think it's going to see plenty of play. Slam. This card's always seen play. It's going to be just a alright card. I like this card. It's like at the very top of C tier here. It just doesn't see that much play anymore, and I don't see why it should start seeing more. Enchanted Raven, considering it's a beast as well, I think this is going to see plenty of play for Druid. Not much to say. I like this card. Kind of, I think it even manages to successfully embody what Druid has become recently. Not recently, but over the years. So, yeah, good one. Draenei Totem Carver, gain +1/+1 for each friendly totem. Yeah, this would fit right into a deck right now, I think even. I think this can see plenty of play. You know, solid deck, solid card. I think this is a great card for the Shaman's general theme. Great card to include. Whirlwind, classic card. I think it's going to see play in just plenty of play. B tier card. Happy they included it. Yeah, not much to say there. It's a great enabler, and it can deal damage. Summon 4 1/1 imps. Never played. I don't see why Warlock needs this, and I don't know why. I guess it kind of fits like a vanilla card, but why? Warlock, by the way, so far has felt really weak. I'll say that much. Crimson Sigil Runner is going to be in most decks. It's really strong to draw a card for 1 mana, and you get a body on the board. It's just strong. Yeah, and sure, it fits into the Demon Hunter set. Perfect. Summon 3/1/1 Illidari with Rush. Haven't recently seen more of a token-based Demon Hunter. Yeah, this is gonna go in sometimes is played. I don't think it's a meta defining or anything. It's gonna be like a card, you know. Demon Hunter has so many strong options. Ice Barrier, this should see plenty of play. Mage doesn't have heal, and this is really the only card they have, so should see plenty of play. I think secrets are gonna be supported. Assassin's Blade probably has been buffed. I'm just gonna give a guess that it's gonna be a 4/4. And in the case that it's a 4/4, I think it's going to be sometimes played. I think it's competing against some really strong weapons, and I don't know if Rogue really wants to play a 4-mana weapon without any upside. Next we got Korvas Bloodthorn, who is a 2-mana 2/2, charge lifesteal. After you play an outcast card, return this to your hand. I can see so many ways they're going to abuse this. This is going to be in every deck, I think. Charge is always good on a 2-mana 2/2 charge on its own is pretty good already. It's, you know, at least don't touch board, it enables stuff, and it has lifesteal. Yeah, that's pretty good. Scavenging Hyena. Solid card. It's going to fit into the new, I guess, Beast synergies. I think it's going to see plenty of play. It's going to make a bit of a comeback as long as Unleash the Hounds is still in the meta. Okay, we're going to put it at the top of sometimes is played because as a base, it needs a lot of support, you know. Next we got Lock and Load. This fits into kind of a vanilla hunter theme, but this card was never good. So I'm going to go with never played. Iron Beak Isle will probably be one of the only real silences in the neutral pool. Maybe the only one, so I think this is going to be seen plenty in a variety of decks, including aggro and control. And I'm glad they included this, you know, it's a classic card. So many moments I remember that card. Snake Trap has always been kind of the... Earlier it was more like the odd brother. It wasn't really in the meta much. It's been more and more in the meta. I think sometimes we'll see play. But, you know, happy they included it. But if we don't have Explosive Trap, then I think I would have rather have seen that one. Although it is more infuriating to play against, I think it's more in line with Hunter's theme. Ash Tongue Battle Lord. If we see a control Demon Hunter, this card could see play, although it is more on the weaker side, so I'm going to go with sometimes is played. It's an alright card to include in the set. Kobold Geomancer is an odd one that's every now and then spell damage is important, and since they're cutting back on spell damage, I think this card is going to be you know, top of sometimes is played. If there's a card that really cares about a combo or doing spell damage, then I think they're going to put that card in their deck. Summon all friendly minions that die this turn. High Inquisitor, White Mage, 6 mana, 5/5, I think. This card isn't seeing play now, and I don't see why it should start. Although, is this stronger than Kel'Thuzad? It is like a mini Kel'Thuzad. You know what? It's going to sometimes see play in control decks. Why not? Some kind of Death Rattle Hunter deck, maybe. Discover a spell from your deck. 2 mana. Yeah, that sounds really strong. It's going to be in most decks, I think. Unless you have some kind of more mid-range deck, then it doesn't make sense. Pursuit of Justice. Give 1 attack to silver hand recruits you summon this game. Reminds me of kind of like a Justicar effect, I guess. Playing it for 2 mana in a control matchup is great. Anywhere else it's so-so. And it's epic, so you can put two in your deck. I think sometimes is played. I don't think you put this into many decks. It's very niche. Summon 2/2 Tree Ants, Landscaping. I remember this card, but I thought it had different artwork. But if it's the increasing kind of tree ant theme that Druid has going, I think that this sees It seems like they're pushing the token thing. Why not? It sees plenty of play. I'm happy with them pushing the Treant thing, but I never see it being like a tier A or like an A tier deck. Cold Blood for 2 mana should see play sometimes. It doesn't get into every deck. Rogue doesn't always care about minions as much as other classes, so should be good. Good, but not amazing enough to put in every deck. It's not flexible enough as Deadly Poison or Backstab. Unbound Elemental, I think this card will see a bit of a comeback. I think it will see sometimes play rather than never played as it is now. So, yeah, fits the Shaman theme. Great card. Cone of Cold got buffed, and I think it's going to see play in most decks. I think it's going to replace Blizzard in many decks. It's just 2 times cheaper. You can play 2 of these instead of a Blizzard and do the same thing pretty much. Yeah, great. Mad Bomber, the ultimate OG random card. Yeah, this isn't gonna see any play. Shouldn't see play unless he got buffed to a 3/3. Then it might see play. Feral Spirit, summon. So you summon. It's the same card, only 1 less overload. This should see play, especially in decks that love overload. We're gonna put it. We could put it. It's just right above Unbound Elemental. Is it gonna see lots of play? I don't know if you'd play this card without Overload. You would. You definitely would, yeah. Sure, it's gonna see plenty of play. It's gonna see more play than Unbound Elemental. SI7 Infiltrator. Destroy a random enemy secret. I like that they have these tech cards in kind of neutral pool. Should be great, actually. I would play this card. This will see play sometimes as a tech card. Chillwind Yeti. I'm guessing it's a 5/5 now. No. Not gonna. Sorry, I'm happy they included it, but seeing this card just brought back memories. But I haven't seen it in so long. I think it's been years since I've actually seen this card be dropped on the board. It doesn't have any like tag either, so you can't generate it. Mark of the Wild gives 2/3. Yeah, sometimes it's played. Sure, if you have more kind of token-based decks that love spells, why not? We'll put it at the bottom sometime. Sometimes it's played. It's not gonna be like staple, I don't think. Gadget Fan Auctioneer. I'm actually really surprised they included this card because it's been such a problematic card for them that they have had to nerf it from 4 to 5 to 6, and then they still included it in here. Nonetheless, I'm happy they included it because it is a bit of, it does enable so many decks, and I'm sure it'll see plenty of play. It's a favorite of deck builders. Holy Smite, dealing 3 damage is pretty good. Should see plenty of play. Next we got Stormwind Champion, who should see absolutely no play. I don't see how a 1 attack buff is going to change the game for this card. Same thing with, well, Stranglethorn sometimes is played, but it's so rare. I think it's going to go never played anyways. Noble Sacrifice, great card. I should see sometimes play, because Paladin doesn't actually play secrets that much, just like purely play secrets, because if you're playing secrets, you usually don't want to just be playing them without any upside. So you're going to be putting many secrets in your deck, and do you really want to be putting so many secrets worth 1 mana if you're, what kind of deck actually wants to do that? So sometimes it's played just because Paladin secrets are kind of without support. We don't need Mysterious Challenger back though, that's for sure. 3 mana, new card. 3 mana, 4/3, deal 3 damage to the enemy hero. I'm assuming they're pushing the whole shadow thing, so we're gonna toss this in. Sometimes it's played. Oh, I don't see why you want to be doing 3 damage to the enemy hero as a priest. Deal 4 damage now. Fire Elemental, 6 mana, 6/5. Yeah, I think this sees play sometimes. We'll put it at the top. It could see plenty of play. Now that's quite strong. You're putting in a something stronger than a Frostbolt on this card, but we have seen some pretty strong cards lately. I think I'm just giving this. If I put it in plenty of play, I think I'd just be sentimental. Hellfire, yep, that still sees lots of play, plenty of play. Just a good removal tool, and sometimes Warlock likes to do damage to the enemy and itself. Execute should see plenty of play. I think Warrior is still going to really care about having things be damaged, and should be pretty good. Tyrion Fordring, you know, one of my favorite cards of all time. It's just a theme and kind of sentiment, and the Paladin's theme. I think it'll see a bit of a comeback. I don't know why. Uh, it's just such a fun card. Come on, Ethereal Conjurer. I'm gonna take a peep at how much we got left. We got quite a few cards left, so I'm gonna speed it up a little bit. Ethereal Conjurer. I love it when this card came out. We're gonna put it in plenty of play because I think it's quite good. Counterspell, again, it's going to be seeing plenty of play because it's a really strong secret. And secret-loving minions, I'm sure they'll enjoy that card. Stone Tuck's Boar, they look how they slaughtered my boy. They give him Rush, and therefore they killed the card. Jungle Panther, Stealth. I'm guessing it's a 4/3 now, which means that it's still going to be bad. Gramash Hellscreen, probably unchanged, and probably still going to be in... I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's going to be in most decks. It's just really strong with the whole damage yourself thing, so we're going to put it in most decks. Baron's Stable Hand, summon a random beast. That's a weird one, huh? We don't have very strong beasts. You see a bunch of never played beasts here. We're going to put it there. Six Swamp Ooze is going to be used plenty. It's not going to be in most decks just because you don't always care about killing weapons, you know? So we'll put it there. I-Beam, it's going to be in... Is it going to be in every deck? Is it going to be in every deck? It's a core card for Illidan. Let's see, I'm going to put it in most decks. I don't think every deck wants a 1 mana deal 3 damage. Mini-Mage still sees no play. Nourish sometimes is played. It's kind of the crossroads. I like the choose one effect there. It's just a little expensive. I think they should have bumped it down to 5 again. Might have been too strong then. Who knows? SI7 sometimes is played. It should see plenty of play still. It's a strong card. Rogue Identity. Senjin Shieldmaster probably going to be a 4/5 now, which means it still sees no play. Stormwatcher probably got a buff. 7 mana is too expensive. Never plays. Never played. Shadow Form dealing 2 damage. Considering the new Shadow thing, I'm going to put it in sometimes is played, though bumping it down to 2 damage. Has it always been 2 damage? It might have been always 2 damage. I'm going to put it in sometimes is played. I don't think that you see this in every priest deck. If you have a weapon equipped, deal 2 damage. New card. This is sometimes played. Only decks that like weapons like that card. But it feels like a great vanilla card. If you control secret game +1/+1, I think this was played plenty. Why not? Or actually... So, in decks that like secrets, I think this is played plenty. I think that's a pretty strong card. Blood Mage Thanos should still see plenty of play. It's probably going to be the strongest spell damage card in the game, since it's in the neutral pool as well. Sprint, drawing 4 cards. I think this sometimes will be played. It's actually quite significant, making it 6 instead of 7. We don't know if Preparation's still going to be in, but if it is, then it's drawing 4 cards is quite strong, especially if you can discount it in any way. Lightning Bolt should see plenty of play. Not in every deck, but I think Overload decks are going to love it, and dealing 3 damage for 1 mana is still very strong. Possessed Villager, summon a 1/1 Shadow Beast. This card was really great. It's going to be seen in the Zoo decks. I remember this card was played a lot. I can't put it in most decks because the Warrior doesn't Warlock doesn't always care about 1/1s. War Cache. Add a random warrior minion, spell, and weapon to your hand. This sounds really great, actually. I think it's going to be played in most decks. It's a new card. Embodies warrior quite well. Patient Assassin should never see play. This probably got buffed, but it will probably see sometimes played. You know, sometimes you care about Divine Shield on a 1-mana minion because you want your 1-mana minions to stick. And if this is now a 1/2, it could definitely stick. Gorehowl, what a classic weapon for warrior. I think it's sometimes it's played. You don't always want Gorehowl. It's quite situational. Injured Blade Master probably got a little buff. I think it's gonna see some play in Priest maybe. Oh, actually, Circle of Healing is probably not even a thing anymore. Nah, this is not gonna see any play. Consecration, happy this is kept. One of the most classic cards in Hearthstone, and I still think it sees play in most decks. You know what? We're gonna go with every deck. It's just such a strong effect for Paladin. Giving in 4/4. Sometimes. I think that the spell burst minion, those 4 mana, that triggers a spell to be cast on her. She was nerfed to 5, and I think that hurts this card quite a bit actually. Pounce, give your hero 2 attack this turn. In decks that love spells, I think this sees some play, so we'll put it there. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, just to make this a little more pleasurable to watch. Gurbashi Berserker probably gets a little buff, but is still never played. Onyxia, summoning 1/1 minions on the board, I think is still not good enough. I think the effect is just exactly the same pretty much as the old one, and the old one didn't see play. Holy Nova should be in most decks. Would you want to play this in mid-range decks? Probably still, yeah. Happy they kept it. I guess nerfed version you could call it. So Feast of Souls, draw a card for each. Yeah, this is going to see plenty of play in that kind of archetype with the tokens, and it's just a great draw tool, I think, in most games actually. Menacing Nimbus, add a random elemental to your hand. I like the kind of elemental theme, but I think it's just going to be played sometimes. It's a quite a strong card because most elementals are very strong. Psychic Conjurer, copy a card in your opponent's deck and add it to your hand. Yeah, I think this card is really fun. I think a 1-mana card that gives you resources is always going to be quite strong. Plenty of play. You can even put this into. You could put this into pretty much any priest deck. But it's just plenty because. Yeah, I don't know if it's quite strong enough. Your other minions have +1 attack. No, thank you. Flame Strike deals 5 damage, making it in most decks for mage 100%. I think you want that almost all the time. King Crush is I've seen the new Alex Drazen, and this is just blatantly weaker. That being said, it's still going to be played sometimes because it's King Crush. And I love myself a King Crush, you know. Arcane Anomaly is a 1-mana minion with upside. I think in a deck that loves spells, this is sometimes played as a strong 1-mana minion. Maybe in Paladin or Druid, for example. Guardian of Kings restores now 6 health here. And no, it has taunt now. Oh yeah, sometimes this is played now. Actually, it sees plenty of play. You love. This is essentially going to get you back like somewhere around 12, 13 health while also killing a minion, so that's great for 7 mana. Power of the Wild still sees plenty of play. Being able to play a 2-mana 3/2 when you don't have anything else to do, or buffing your entire board is still going to be very good. Shadow Step is going to be in like every deck. It's just such a strong effect, and rogues like bouncing their minions. Surprised they kept this card because it caused quite a few problems. Cold Light Seer for some Murloc love. Sometimes, just in Murloc decks. Defender of Argus could sometimes see play. I think that you probably have stronger alternatives, but I'm going to err on the side of caution and say that it sometimes sees play. New card, Enslaved Fellowlord. Taunt also damages the minions next to whomever it attacks. It's a little bit too expensive, and I don't think it's ever going to see play. It's going to be great when you summon it, though, through a random card. Summon 5 1/1 Silverhand Recruits. So, does that new card summon this game? Okay, I'm starting to see a pattern. They still have 1 health. Sure, it sometimes is played. Koldara, throwback to the Grand Tournament and Inspire. And does that inspire me? No, I don't think this is going to see play. Next we got draw spells until your hand is full Malygos. Ooh, this is going to see lots of play. Plenty of play on this guy. Strong card for control. Honestly, on any kind of combo deck, you love this card. It kind of like unload your whole deck. And oh, could you even play that in aggro? Maybe. Wild Growth is still going to be in probably every deck. So strong. Put that in a deck with the other ramp. Rockbiter Weapon. Is Doomfist still in the... I'm going to have to check. Is Doomfist still here? Doomhammer, I mean. Doomfist is in Overwatch. Rockbiter Weapon, I think it sometimes sees play, and I'm going to go ahead and throw Doomhammer as well in this tier. I think that combo can still be strong, because I think they're cutting down on charge and other burst. Battle Fiend is played in like every deck still, because that is what Demon Hunter does. They like strong minions. And attack lovers, let's see. Lord Jaraxxus, I think we'll see plenty of play. I don't know why. I think he'll make a bit of a resurgence, but actually I think Warlock's a little bit weak. We'll put him at the top of sometimes is played, because he is a bit... He's not really changing, you know. He's still not played today, so why would he be played now? Yeah, we'll put him there. Cogmaster. Sometimes it's played. Maybe we have some mech lover decks. Shadow Word Death, still gonna be in like every deck. Very strong card. For Priest, give your weapon +1 attack. This gets sometimes it's played. I think that this is a very appropriate approach to weapon buffs, because it can get quite out of control. Alexstrasza, I think this is going to be in most decks. I think that's a very strong card. And I think that most decks would benefit from a card like this. It's so flexible and so strong. I've always loved Alexstrasza, and the new one is actually maybe even stronger. Dark Iron Dwarf, you are not good. Babbling Book, you are very strong. I think it sees play in like every mage deck, and I remember the day where Pavel won because of this filthy card. Still very good. And I love the theme of that card. Voodoo Doctor restores 2 health, and therefore is never played. Add a coin to your hand. Ooh, this card I remember. Decks with Gadgetzan. Yeah, it should see plenty of play in Rogue. It just fits their class perfectly. This is vanilla garbage, I think. Never sees play. Summon the 2/1/1 skeletons. This was alright, but it's just not strong enough for standard. Snap Freeze. Freeze a minion if it's already frozen, destroy it. I think this will see more play with the new Cone of Cold. So we're going to put it in here. Great addition to standard. Flesh Eating Ghoul, whenever a minion dies, gain +1 attack. I think it's been buffed by 1 attack, and that still makes it very bad. Chaos Strike in every deck, because making your deck do what it already would want to do and drawing a card is very good. especially in Demon Hunter because you have Outcast. Lifesteal, deal 4 damage to a minion. I think this sees a lot of play, plenty of play. Shaman likes doing damage and healing itself with lifesteal because it also has a spell damage theme. Water Elemental without a buff does not see play, although you love summoning this. Blood Raider sees some niche play in weapon decks, like very focused weapon decks or pirate decks. Ice Rager never sees play. Magma Rager. I would love to see that one instead. Okay, no, maybe not. Discover a copy of a beast in your deck. I like this one. I think it sees plenty of play. Discovering, tutoring towards something, getting a second King Crush, or whatever you're going to do should be very strong. Frothing Berserker, I think, is a 3/4 now, and it's sometimes going to see play, I think. It's still a card that if you don't attend to it on like the first turn it comes down, it will destroy you. Menagerie Warden, choose a friendly beast, summon a copy of it. Yeah, I think this is one of the widely requested cards to be put in standard, and I agree. I think this is going to be put in plenty of times. Direwolf Alpha without a buff is still garbage. You don't even put this into Zoo, I think. The next demon you play costs 2 less. Sometimes. In demon-loving Illidan Demon Hunter decks. Shield Maiden is one of my favorite warrior cards of all time, and I think it's going to see play in most decks. It's just so strong to gain 5 armor and put a 5/5 down. I think Bear Shark sees plenty of play. It's Hunter loves playing a 3-mana 4/3, which is a lot of attack on a cheap minion, and having your opponent not be able to deal with it in any way. So Bear Shark's great. The next weapon you play costs 1 less. That sounds stupid strong. Fiery War Axe got a buff. That goes in most decks, if not every deck. Armorsmith will see plenty of play. Actually, I'm going to put it in most decks as well. I mean, I'm starting to see this control deck kind of line up here. I think Control Warrior will be back in a big way with these big value decks and cards. Can't attack. Ooh, that's good. The Priest. I still don't see that archetype coming back because they've removed a lot of the enablers, so won't see play. Aldor Peacekeeper, what a classic. If Control Paladin or mid-range Paladin comes back in any way, this card will see play. Fireball will be still in most decks because it's, I don't know why Fireball, but that kind of 6 damage, the ability to do 6 damage immediately is from a spell for mage has always been big, and I think it will continue to be big. How many do we got left? Okay, we're working through here. We can do it. Destroy all minions with 5 or more attack. Yeah, that's good. That's going to be in most decks, I think. Just assuming the priest is going to be what priest is usually. Young Priestess, you suck. Web Spinner, you rock. You're going to be in like every deck in Hunter. I'm going to zoom out one more time here. Just generating, I just remember Web Spinner. It's just like when you play 1-mana minion and it has upside, so many times it gets played. It's just, games are decided a lot of the time in the first 2 turns. Arcane Shot, sometimes. You don't put this into every deck. But I'm happy they kept this. And a fun fact, I always had trouble. I always think his face is like somewhere else. Okay, that's just a personal thing. It took me a long time to realize that this little dot there is his face. Give your hero 3 attack this turn. That sounds pretty good to me. I think this is played in most decks. I think that's a new card as well. Argent Protector, you are not good enough, I think. In a mid-range Paladin, would you play this? No, it's too clunky because you never play this on turn 2 unless you stick a minion, which is hard to do with Paladin, I think. You know what? Top of never played. No, okay, fine. We'll put it in sometimes is played. I think it could see play in some kind of mid-range deck. But what 2-drops do you play in those decks? I don't know. We'll put it there. Bladed Cultist combo gain +1/+1. I think that this is gonna see plenty of play. Rogues, every class likes a 1-mana strong minion they can play, and that's gonna be one of them. Spider Tank, 3-mana 3/4 vanilla. I don't think mechs are gonna be a thing. I think it's too late for mechs. So magnetic. Don't see any magnetic cards unless Ziliax is back. Please no. Youthful Brewmaster should see play in some weird combo decks. Violet Teacher is still not good enough. Token decks. Druid. I don't think there's enough enabling for that kind of thing for Druid right now. Shield Slam will be in most decks. Any deck that is a control deck for Warrior will play Shield Slam. Druid of the Claw, even with the buffs. 5/4 with Rush or 5/6 with Taunt. You know, it'll sometimes see play. I think that, I just don't know what the win condition in Druid might look like with a card like this in your deck. So it's just on the very bottom of C tier. Hex should still see plenty of play. I don't think it's going to be in most decks. I think Shaman will evolve into some new play styles. So maybe Hex doesn't see play in every deck. King Mukla, give your opponent 2 bananas. Still not great. You're going to have more powerful things to do with turn 3. And it doesn't matter that it's a beast. Spectral Sight, draw a card, draw another. Yep, should see plenty of play. It's fallen off a bit because it's a bit clunky, so, you know, not in every deck. Swashbuckler is even stronger than the other rogue 1-mana minion I saw. This is going to be in every deck, actually, I think. So strong. Just the same concept as Babbling Book, and I actually really enjoy those cards, but they can be quite frustrating to play against if they regenerate some really OP stuff. Temple Enforcer, I think will sometimes see play in decks that care about giving health, and I do think they're going to make a comeback. I just don't know if you put Temple Enforcer into every deck. I like that this card is included, though. Nerubian Egg, what a classic. Happy they included it, and it's going to see plenty of play, I think. It was solid. It's usually always solid to play it, even on turn 2 or whatever. It's like an AoE counter. Give a friendly minion 2 health. Gonna put this in the same boat with Temple Enforcer. Nothing much to say there. It's a fairly new card as well. Faceless Manipulator. Yeah, sometimes it's played. That's another card like, for example, I mentioned Wind Fury earlier that I always tried to make work. And for the most part, it's good, but sometimes it's just a little too reactive. Drain Soul. Lifesteal. Deal 3 damage to a minion. Do we like it? Yeah, it's pretty good. Sometimes you'll see it play. Preparation is in standard, and that makes it get played in every deck, and you put Sprint sometimes into those decks and draw 4 cards for 3 mana. Sleepy Dragon is not good enough to play in a deck on its own. Nordrassil Druid. The next spell you cast this turn costs 3 less. That sounds pretty broken. I think you're going to see this in plenty of decks. Annoyatron. I don't even know if you played Annoyatron in that many decks, even when it was around. It was really popular. It would go in like a B tier, but I think because it was B tier then, it'll probably go in C tier now. Lakari Fellhound, we will put in. Lakari Fellhound, discard 2 Los cards in your hand. I think that discard loving stuff is still going to be around, but it's a bit steep. I don't think it's that good, actually. Your hero power deals 1 extra damage. It's supposed to go together with the Caldara Drake, I think it's called. The unlimited use of hero powers, but I think that stuff is way past its time. I think it's quite bad now. Or actually, could you just play this on its own and have it be good? Probably. Sometimes you play in decks that can afford to put a 2-drop in that has an effect. Abusive Sergeant. I don't think you play this in Modern Day Zoo, so that doesn't see play. Light Spawn for 3, that's a 4/4. If you play Light Spawn on 3, it's a 4/4. That's a pretty strong minion. I think if you buff it, it could stick. Sometimes you'll see play. Your silver hand recruits have 1 attack. There'll be some silver hand recruit deck, and this one will sometimes make the cut, so we'll put it in. Clockwork Giant. In a control meta, this could be quite strong actually, but it is quite clunky. But in a meta where you know that your opponent will have a lot of cards, yeah, sometimes they'll be played. So it's a tech card. Scenarios for 8 mana instead of 9. Sometimes they'll be played. Not every druid deck cares about doing scenarios things. Arcanologist. Wow, they brought this card back. Okay, I think this is quite strong. It's going to be in most decks. Plenty of decks. Yeah. That's quite strong, actually. Earth Elemental, even though they buffed it to having 1 less overload, I think it's still... You don't care about playing a 5 and a 7/8 with not much upside other than Taunt. Flame Imp. We'll still see plenty of play because Zoo will always be a thing as long as the Warlock hero power stays the same. After an enemy minion deals 3 or more damage, destroy it. I think this is quite a strong secret for Paladin, and I think you'll see sometimes play rather than never. River Croc, probably not buffed, so it'll be never played. Arcane Devourer. I think sometimes. I think this card is actually quite strong in its new form. I think it's an 8 mana 4/6 maybe. I think if you pair it, could it? Which deck would it? No, I don't think this is gonna see play. 8 mana is too much. If it was like 6 or 7, it could be really good. Murloc Tidehunter. I don't think it cuts it in a Murloc deck. Overlord Runethok will be for those hand buffing love decks. I think maybe Warrior you could put this in, and yeah, sometimes it's good, but pretty situational. Aldrachi Warblades still go into, or Glaives. Is it Glaives? No, Blades. Goes into every deck because you want to be able to hit more, and to do that you have to heal. Brightwing coming back in will go into sometimes it's played. It's just a pretty good value card, but not really strong enough to see major play. Tracking, discover a card from deck. I think this makes the card worse, not having the discard effect because it's played in aggro usually, but it'll be played sometimes just like now. The new Deathwing, I think, will be get plenty of play. I think it'll see just as much play as Malygos. It's even more flexible than Malygos, I think, and I so many times included Deathwing as a wild card into my deck, and it's won me so many games. This one's just an upgraded version, so you know, this is going to be stronger than I think most people think. Twisting Nether will still be played plenty. Warlock needs a way to just have a clean slate, I think. War Song. After you summon another minion, give it Rush. I think this sees some play in Rush-loving decks, but very rarely. Void Terror will still be bad because giving it a stat buff isn't the point of the card. Well, you could play with Nerubian Egg and all. It's just too clunky, I think. It's going to be a dead card most of the time in your hand. It doesn't help you get back into the game usually. Mortal Coil. This will see plenty of play still. So it's a great way to clear that Swashbuckler or Babbling Book and draw a card for it. So you're getting kind of a mirror effect. Dire Frenzy. I love this inclusion. I think this card is really fun. I think it's going to see plenty of play. I love that they included it. Lone Champion. If you control no other minions, gain Taunted Divine Shield. I think this sees some play in control decks or decks with very few minions. So sometimes. Loot Hoarder still sees plenty of play. I think it's still a really strong card, and I'm actually a little surprised that they decided to give you such an easy way to get card draw. Well, that, that being said, they didn't put Acolyte of Pain back in, which is a bit sad. They butchered this card, so it never gets played anymore because they removed charge. Big Game Hunter makes a big comeback in a big way, in my opinion. Being 4 mana instead of 5, that's a huge change, and I think it sees plenty of play now. Murloc Tiny Fin sees no play because it's a 0 mana 1/1, and you don't want to be filling your deck with those. Lightning Storm has become even stronger, and therefore it was already being played, so I think it goes in most decks now. A lot of Shaman cards up here, don't I? Yeah. Mirror Entity is the ability to cheat this out. Basically gains you just so much tempo, and it'll still see plenty of play if you can cheat it out. Destroy friendly minions. If you had 5 or more, summon, I'm guessing 5/5. Destroy 5 or more. I think this is too situational. I think it's going to go in sometimes because maybe you have some Death Rattle synergy and Warlock. Nah, I'm not feeling this one. Worgen Infiltrator, Stealth, sometimes in some kind of aggro deck. Righteous Protector, we'll see it come back, I think, a little bit. Great inclusion. For the same reasons you play Argent Squire, I think this could see some play, and it has Taunt. Tiny Knight of Evil, whenever you discard a card, gain +1/+1. To make this work, you have to be discarding way too many cards, so it's not going to see any play, in my opinion. It's just not gross enough. It should give 2/2, you know? Deadly Shot, destroy a random enemy minion. Sometimes I'll see play in those weird one-off decks or something of that sort. It's a great card to include just one copy of. Explosive Trap is still in Hunter, and it's just going to be in just about every deck, I think. It's even stronger than Freezing Trap, in my opinion. It depends on the meta a little bit. We'll put it together with Freezing Trap just because not every Hunter deck wants to play Secrets. Sightless Watcher sometimes is played. It's not strong enough for a Demon Hunter. It feels like a mage card or something. Natalie Celine sometimes, because destroying a minion for 8 mana is a bit expensive. Cruel Taskmaster sometimes, because Grommash exists. The spell damage +2/1, the new one, the 5 mana 5/5. Death Rattle, the next minion you draw, it gets the power. I think that's actually quite strong in Mage. I think this will be experimented with a lot, and it'll end up being in most decks. I think they thought that one through. It should be quite strong. Crazed Alchemist, happy they included this one. It's a fun effect, and I think it gets played never, I think. Warglaves of Azeroth probably makes a mini comeback and is played sometimes as a one-of index maybe now. Savannah Highmane might be a 6/6 now, I'm not sure, but classic hunter card, and it will be played sometimes in beast-loving decks that can cheat out beasts and such. Destroy minion for 5 mana. Ooh, I like that. It sees plenty of play in Warlock. Warlock's going in more of a control direction, as I can see. This one's been buffed. I can't remember the buff, but the buff is significant, and if it does like elementals, I think this will be seeing plenty of play now. Next week, though not having lifesteal does hurt it. Illidari Inquisitor, after your hero attacks an enemy, this attacks at 2. I think 8 mana is just way too slow for a Demon Hunter. Soul of the Forest will see plenty of play because tokens exist, and that's one of the biggest token enabling cards in my opinion, because it makes your board stick forever, basically. Flash Heal, I think this works in decks with some kind of incentive to play spells. So sometimes they'll be played for priests. You know, healing 5 for 1 has proven to not usually be good enough, but sometimes. Elven Archer dealing 1 damage is so much worse than Penflinger, and it's never going to be played with that in the meta. And it will be next year, so no way. Holy Light is much better now. Doing 2 extra healing is a big deal, and it should see plenty of play. And last but not least, we have Avenge back in the pool, which I think is quite a strong secret, and I think it's going to see plenty of play. With that being said, I think we've kind of filled out every category quite well, and let me zoom out completely. That might be a bit much, but yeah, in this view you actually do see everything, even though it is very small. I'll give you this view, and then I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to scroll down like so, just for those who want to see maybe everything. But yeah, I'm going to go back to this view, and I'm going to wrap up by saying that I think this classic set is a really good idea. I'm excited to see how it'll change from year to year. I'm excited to see if they've done their due diligence and made this work well and be fun. I don't see immediately what I would want to build with this core set, although I am excited to try some of the new cards. And I'm looking forward to those Nasdurmo tournaments where you can only take 15 seconds each turn. Well, that being said, if you made it this far, then you're crazy, because this is an hour long at least. And leave a like, please, and subscribe if you want more Hearthstone content, because when I see that a video does well, it lets me know that people like it and I make more. So thank you for watching this video, and I had a lot of fun making it. I hope you had fun watching it. I'll see you guys soon.